Mortarion and the Death Guard have materialized from the warp with a brand spanking new codex, plus he's brought the Great Unclean One.
Alright, so today I'm going to be using the Death Guard with the Tallyband Summoners detachment. Now I'm using this detachment mainly for the Great Unclean One.
The Space Bears have been tasked to stop these demons in their tracks, and they're not coming alone. They've got their own new set of rules as well. The Bears have returned. We've got new rules. We've got new models. I don't actually have any of the new models. I converted some, but we've got new rules, and I am excited to play today. Oh, it's gonna be a fun one as Papa Bear presents Elliot and the new Death Guard versus Papa Bear and the new Space Wolves. Today I'm trying out Saga of the Beast Slayer. Now that rule gives you lethal hits in you shooting or fighting against characters, monsters, or vehicles that is army wide. And if you complete the saga, you get lethal hits against everything else that you're attacking. So there are some monsters against these Death Guard here, and there's characters, so we'll see how it fares. There's a lot of things to try in this new book. Today I'm going for the Beast Slayer. We'll see how it goes.
Alright, so I'm really excited about the army-wide boost to overall toughness, and one of the kind of buffs that I'm excited about is the Unholy Resilience ability, as well as the extra added benefit of having extra ways to afflict more enemy units and be able to put my contagion to better use.
Alright, there's so many new ways to play the wolves right now, but I want to talk about Ragnar. I've got him with 20 blood claws. I just think it's very cool. It's very thematic, just 20 chain swords and Ragnar's Frostfang coming at you. I just like the look of it. Now head takers might be the meta way to go, but blood claws for the theme. Let's see how that goes. One of the new stratagems that I'm really excited about is Unbridled Ferocity. That gives you a +1 to wound in the fight phase. So I'm going to be looking to use that every time I'm fighting. So please chat, Unbridled Ferocity. Make sure, keep me accountable in the comments. If you don't hear me say it throughout the game, every single round, let me know. Elliot's Death Guard list consists of Typhus leading a 5-man Blight Lord Terminator squad, Lord of Contagion leading a 3-man Blight Lord Terminator squad, 2 Plague Burst Crawlers and 2 Mephitic Blight Haulers for some Demon Engine action, 3 units of 5-man Plague Marines, the Great Unclean One, and last but not least, Mortarion. With the toughness characteristic of a lot of the Death Guard units going up by at least 1, they are the toughest they have ever been in the game. Papa Bear has brought 2 battle leaders leading 2 6-man units of head takers, with one of those units having 6 hunting bears, the ever reliable Bjorn the Fell-Handed, 2 6-man Thunder Bear cavalry, a 6-man Eradicator squad to take care of all these monsters and vehicles, an Assault Intercessor squad, Ragnar Blackmane leading 20 Blood Claws. That is a lot of chain attacks. The new look chapter master Logan Grimnar with his bears Timac and Fenrir. The missions today is Taken Hold, where you score 5 VP for holding each objective up to 15 VP. Nice and simple for today's game. The mission rule is Prepared Positions, where battle line units can use the go to ground stratagem for 0 CP. And the deployment is Hammer and Anvil, a classic. Alright, welcome everybody to the Factorum. We've got the Bears and the Death Guard. A little about the terrain. You can walk through all these pieces, you know, infantry and beasts can walk through everything here like normal. And this is what our board is looking like. And now, for the all-important first turn roll-off here. Let's see who's going to go first.
I'd much rather go second. I prefer to see where my enemy would like to move so I can make a decision and adjust accordingly.
All right, so in this instance, I definitely want to go first. those casts move 12 inches. So I'd love to go first, advance, move up, try to get on as many objectives as I can, and try to move block some of the Death Guard. So I'm hoping to go first. I need to hit the box.
Oh,
it is a tie. So it looks like Death Guard will be going first, and we'll be back to see what the Death Guard does for their turn 1. All right, we are at Death Guard turn 1. Death Guard are slow and steady. So what are your missions and what's the plan?
Just try to advance some of my infantry towards the objective, make my way there. Keep these infantry here to try to hold this primary objective. These guys have long range shooting. They're well within range of the enemy from where they're at, so I want to keep them out of melee combat. The two objectives I got were assassination and overwhelming force. Now, I could have swapped out assassination, but I didn't want to waste the CP, so I decided to keep it for now, although it'll be impossible to do that first turn. And even overwhelming force is something I'll probably have to wait in order to cash in on.
So as you've noticed right now, there's no Terminators, there's no Materian, there is no Great Unclean One. You plan on dropping all those down later in the game?
Of course.
All right, so nothing really much to move. We're going to return with some shooting and see what the Death Guard can do against the Mighty Bears. So we're back after some Death Guard shooting. The Plague Burst Crawlers, the Blight Haulers, and the Marines here all took some shots, resulting in me losing one bear from this squad here. And they took old poor Bjorn down to 4 wounds. If you can believe that, as tough as he is, I rolled some pretty poor saves. So Bjorn is down to 4 wounds, but no worry. The Bears are marching in for their turn 1. No assassinate or overwhelming force was got by the Death Guard. So kind of a bad draw there with the secondaries. But the Bears, turn 1, on the way. All right, so the Death Guard are notoriously tough. They reduce toughness when I'm in their contagion range. So my plan today is, because I'm much faster than the Death Guard, so my plan today is to jump out early, move block, get on the objectives, try to hold them, try to screen out some of the deep striking Terminators and Mortarion and the Great Unclean, all these deep striking things, try to move block them a little bit and just hang on because my toughness is reduced. So that's my plan. Move up quick, sit on the objectives early, and hope for the best. We are back for Bears turn 1. I have moved up everything, as you can see. There's just a mass of bodies here. I've got the 20 blood claws in the middle, the head takers over here. I got the other head takers over here. I got bears over here, bears over here, and then Bears and Bjorn are over here. So I moved everything up. Now, as you can see, I have got Logan, Grimnar, and the Terminators here in the middle. Now the Terminators deep striked in. So according to his rule, High King of Fenris, you can treat you can treat the deep strike a turn early. So typically you have to come in turn 2, but because of High King of Fenris, I came in turn 1. Now we're not completely clear as to whether a unit in Deep Strike can use that ability while they're in Deep Strike to come down, but we played it to where you could use it even though Logan was in Deep Strike. So if that's wrong, or if somebody's got an FAQ, or if there's any rules mentioned about it, drop it in the comments, let us know. But that's how we played it, where Logan can come down turn 1 because of High King of Fenris. So if that is different, let us know, and that way I can play it right the first time. But that is how we agreed to do it for this game today. My missions are secure no man's land and establish the locust. And I was able to establish locust with Logan here. and I secured the no man's land with my 2 bear cavalries here. So I actually had a pretty good turn. I did do a little shooting with Bjorn, and that took out one. Chaos Marine there. One little Nurgle Marine, but that was it. No charging whatsoever. But I had a good turn. I was able to do both my secondaries. I've got one more unit in reserve, and that is the Eradicators. Besides that, everything else is on the board. And there's a sea of Space Marine bodies ready to take out the Death Guard. And we're going to be back. There's no charges. So we're going to be back with Death Guard turn 2.
So I feel really good about the end of turn 1. As expected, he used his movement advantage, his mobility to kind of get up, take the objectives quickly, score some early points. But I was able to put in some heavy damage against Bjorn, so I'm happy with that.
Here we are, Death Guard turn 2. Death Guard are very slow and steady, but as you've noticed, we have got a Mortarion and an Unclean One in the building. So, Death Guard, what are your missions? What is your plan?
So, I ended up keeping both of my objectives. While they didn't work for the first round, this round, they actually do work. I've got my opponent here. They've taken 3 objectives in no man's land. I got to be able to dig them out. Even though their max amount of points they can get is 15, even that's too much. So, overwhelming force will be able to give me points when I eventually dig them out. I also kept assassination because I actually did good against Bjorn in the first round. So,
yeah, down to 4 wounds.
Plan to finish him off and get those points.
You will try, sir. You will try. All right, and your movement. What are we thinking here?
So, I moved some of my vehicles a little closer in to get an extra attack, do some extra damage. Like I said, I need to dig these guys out. These guys are strategically placed. I've got some planned for them that'll surprise the Space Marines.
So some Death Guard shenanigans.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what shenanigans with the Unclean One too?
With the Unclean One?
Maybe.
I mean, he's just unclean.
Okay, we got Typhus here. So actually, there's 4 units of Death Guard in my backfield. The only thing holding it down is the Assault Intercessors, who are not long for this world. Okay, so Death Guard say they have shenanigans. We are going to come back with some shooting and find out exactly what these shenanigans are. So some Death Guard shooting. Now, the Mephitic Blight Hauler, the Plague Marines, and these Terminators here all shot into the legendary Bjorn and took 1 damage off. That's it. Bjorn's got 3 wounds left, but now the PBC, the Plague Burst Crawler, is going to shoot all the things into the fell-handed. Do your worst, sir.
So, not going to take any chances. Got to get rid of Bjorn. So, I'm going to start with the Entropy Cannon. 36-inch range, 1 attack, hitting on 3. Oh, you can't be serious. We got a 1.
Okay.
Next, we got the Heavy Slugger. 4 attacks. Hitting on 3. Missed 2 of them.
Wow.
But at least I got 2. Strength 5.
So wounding on 5s.
Got 1.
Okay.
AP -1.
AP -1, so I need a 3. All good.
Got it. Next, the Plague Burst Mortar. Now, this is D6 plus 3 for attacks. Excellent.
Not
I got
bad.
7.
Yeah, not bad.
Hitting on 3. Able to get most of them.
Yeah, also not bad.
Strength is 8.
So wounding on 4.
Now he's afflicted, so his toughness is reduced.
Yeah, that's why you wounded on 4.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Got most of them.
2 went through. So it's 4 damage coming at me. So I need to make... Because Bjorn has 3 wounds left. So I need to make 2 5-up, feel no pains for this to work. To keep Bjorn alive.
Felt all of it.
Felt all the pains. Does he explode?
Nope.
He does not. So Bjorn has fallen. Good on the death guard. There he goes. So after some fighting, now I was charged here. Death guard attack first. Surprisingly enough, I made every single save. And my one bear calf is still alive, if you can believe that. I did attack back, and I did take out a death guard here. So, still alive there. But now we're coming all the way over to this fight here, where there's 4 Plague Marines into my bears. All right, sir, let's do it.
Let's do it. 12 attacks.
What are you attacking me with?
Plague knives.
All
Hitting
right.
on 3. Winning on 5 still.
So I need 3s. And I get... No, 1 goes through. Oh, 2 go through. 2 go through. All right.
All right.
So 2 damage on the bears. And is that all your attacks?
One last one. Heavy plague weapon.
Heavy plague weapon.
Missed.
And missed. Okay. Is that all your attacks?
That's it.
All right. Now for the bears response. Okay, so now Plague Marines are tough 6. My weapon is a strength 5, so I'd be typically wounding on 5s. But because of unbridled ferocity, I am wounding on 4s. Okay, so that was 13 wounds, and that is at -1 AP. No, -2 AP actually.
Saving on 5.
Saving on 5.
So I'm not saving much.
That is 2 damage each, sir.
Huh? Okay. Well, that's 2 damage each. Just pan over here. Yeah. Well, I'm not even gonna.
So that is the squad. So the bears take out the Plague Marines with unbridled ferocity. Excellent. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. Yes, as promised, I'm gonna use it every chance I get.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Definitely am.
You could just not.
All right, I think that is it for the Death Guard's turn, but good Death Guard turn. You scored your assassinate, scored your overwhelming force. So good job there. Took me off the objective here because I don't have enough OC to keep it. So good Death Guard turn, and I have got all these Death Guard in my back lines. But it's time for the bears to respond for bears turn 2. Alright, so I got 2 of the toughest monsters in the game in my backfield. I feel really good about my board control, but now I got to think about coming back to try to help out my guys in the backfield. We'll see what happens. My bears, turn 2, the bottom of turn 2. I have kind of moved a little bit all over the place. I drew assassination and recover assets. So for assassination, my target, Demon Primarch Mortarion. Now he is also my Oath of Moment, and I have moved Ragnar and his Blood Claws back to try to pick a fight with Mortarion. Now, yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping for volume of attacks, but Mortarion is notoriously hard to take out. But Ragnar is up to the task, and that would give me my assassination if I can get lucky enough to take him out. But that's why we play the game, to see if we can do some cool things. I also moved the wolves over here, the bears, to try to help out my remaining calf. So on the charge, so hopefully they can help him out there. I have moved everything up here. The head takers are on the middle. Logan and his Terminators are marching toward that back objective. My bears over here have moved up to try to take out this Mephitic Blighthauler. And then the head takers over here are holding this objective down here. I'm not bringing in the Eradicators just yet. I want to try to hold them off for one more turn, just to kind of see where this guy is going to end up. And to see what they can do against Mortarion. So we'll see. I'll bring him in turn 3, and see if they can help me out. But you can see the board here. That is my movement. That is my game plan. Take out Mortarion. As far as recover assets, the Assault Intercessors are going to recover assets. The Head Takers here are going to recover assets in No Man's Land. I don't have a unit that's going to be able to get in the backfield for the full recover assets, so just recover in 2. But you take what you can get. And we're going to be back. There's not much shooting, so we'll return after we make some charges with the bears. All right, so this is I didn't realize the severity of this attack. So this is a bananas attack. I have 19 blood claws and 1 power weapon. Okay, so 19 chainsaws. Now that is 76 attacks with the blood claws alone, not even counting Ragnar and the power weapon. So now here's the thing. Mortarion is my Oath of Moment. So that's 76 attacks, re-rolling all my fails. Because Mortarion is a character and he's a monster as well, my army rule is I get lethal hits against characters, monsters, vehicle. Mortarion is a character and a monster. So I get 76 lethal hits, re-rolling the hit because of Oath of Moment, and because Ragnar is leading the blood claws, I get to re-roll wounds. Alright, so 76 attacks, re-rolling hits, lethals. This is the first 34. Alright, so out of the first 34, I got 13 lethals and 13 hits. This is the next 34 to make 68. So after that, I'm up to 25 lethal hits and 28 regular hits. Now this is the final 8 to make 76 attacks. Okay, so after that was all said and done, I'm at 29 lethal hits and 30 attacks that actually went through. So before we do anything, we'll do the 29 lethal hits to see if Mortarion can save. Now I have an attack with Ragnar and I have an attack with a power weapon because we don't want to get the numbers too crazy. So we're gonna resolve all the blood claws, chain swords first. So 29 lethal hits, and of course, I used Unbridled Ferocity as promised. So I do have a +1 to wound for my normal hits, but first we have to resolve the lethals. Okay, so we've got our dice ready. It would be wounding on 6s because of Unbridled Ferocity. We're wounding on 5s and yeah, because of lethal hits. So let's see it.
Let's do it.
Will Mortarion survive?
A little dice ASMR.
It's a -1 AP, so that's 1 survival. How many wounds does Morty have?
Not enough. 16.
16, okay. So now he only needs 3s to survive.
It's a lucky roll.
Alright, so this is how tough Mortarion is. So 29 lethals, and he only took 3 wounds from 29 lethals. But we have 30 hits. 30 hits we have to get through. And so I'm going to roll my damage. 30 hits. I'm going to roll my hits. Now I'm wounding on 5s. And because of Ragnar, I get to re-roll the wound roll. So we'll see how many wounds I can get through on my 30 hits. But if he just ate 29 lethals and only took 3, it's not looking good here for Ragnar taking down Mortarion. This is tougher than we think. But we'll see how it goes.
Honestly, I'm shocked. I didn't think he would make it out with just 3 wounds.
He is a Demon Primarch. We'll go to the wounds. All right, 30 hits, 30 wounds, wounding on 5s, and can re-roll the wound roll. All right, so 16 wounds I was able to get through, wounding on 5s with my re-rolls. Let's see if he can save them. Needs 3s to save.
Save 2 of them.
And saved 2. So only took 2. So out of 59 attacks, 59, you took 5 damage.
Really, 76 attacks.
Yeah, 76 attacks, 5 damage. But I do have Ragnar, and I've got the lieutenant. Well, you know, not the lieutenant, but the power weapon left to try to chip away more damage from Mortarion. 76 attacks, took 5 damage. That is how tough this guy is. Crazy. All right. So I was able to take off 1 more damage with the Blood Claw pack leader. But now, Black Mane into Mortarion. He's got 10 attacks. It's sustained 1 and it's lethal. And let's see what he does. Here we go. And Ragnar Ragnar's hitting on 2s here. So far so good. Alright, so I have 11 wounds after the lethals and sustains and the Oath of Moment. 11 wounds. Now, he is wounding. He would be wounding on 6, but he is wounding on 5 because of Unbridled Ferocity. Okay, so 8 wounds went through. They're 2 wounds each, so 16 feel no pains. Now Mortarion's got 10 wounds left. So you, sir,
need 7.
You have to roll. He's got 10 wounds left. You got 16 feel no pains.
I need 7. In order to survive.
In order to survive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
7 feel no pains to keep Morty alive.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5,
Oh, hold on.
6.
Hold on.
That's it.
Almost. Almost. So it took 80 attacks fully with the blood claws, and then Ragnar came in with 10 plus his sustained.
Yeah.
Gave him an extra 6. So it took 96 attacks.
With ferocity and
with
Oath of Moment.
Unbridled Ferocity, Oath of Moment, and lethal hits to take out Mortarion. But the Bears have done it after nearly 100 attacks. That one is for the books, people. I cannot explain that. He almost still survived. Almost still survived, but Ragnar, that is one for the Saga, sir. Mortarion's down. Does he explode?
Let's see.
Oh my God, he explodes. He explodes in furious rage of being banished back to the warp. Mortarion explodes, and we're going to be back with the aftermath of that. But Morty is out in turn 2 with 100 Bloodclaw and Ragnar attacks to get him out. Mortarion does fall. It took nearly 100 attacks, but Mortarion does fall. I can't believe it. Incredible. I've never been a part of rolling nearly 100 dice for a single attack, especially for melee. But here we are. Some more aftermath of all the fighting. So the fight over here, I took the PBC down to 2 wounds, and the Blight Hauler has how many wounds left?
Just 3.
Blight Hauler has 3 wounds left over there fighting the bears. My last Bear Cavalry has fallen to the Plague Marines as suspected. So we're kind of in a stalemate here. Now, Plague Marines hold this because these guys have no OC. So don't control anything there. But I do get Assassinate because I took out Morty, and I do have 2 units that recovered assets. So overall, good turn for me. But the Death Guard still have tools to make this right. So we're going to come to Death Guard turn 3 and see what the plan is for the Stinky Boys. Okay, we're looking at Death Guard turn 3. We've still got some assets for the Death Guard on the table. So, what is the plan?
So, Death Guard took some heavy casualties on that one. It's time to get it back in blood. First thing I'm going to do is, got to take this objective. Main reason for that, I got the Storm Hostile Objective secondary mission. So if I control an objective that my enemy controlled at the start of the turn, I'll be able to score some points. Next thing I got to do is also play defense. Over here, I have to defend my own stronghold. I place them back, making the charge a little bit harder, and I strategically move my Mephitic Blight Hauler and Plague Burst Crawler in position to make a counterattack.
Try to shoot Logan down as much as you can. Makes sense. And then, last bit here.
I had the Plague Marines fall back so the Blightlord Terminators could shoot into them and then charge afterwards.
Okay, slingshot some extra movement here. Alright, solid plan. So we've got Defense Stronghold and Storm Hostile Objective. And the Death Guard are going to be on the move. We will return with some Death Guard shooting. So after some Death Guard shooting, the Bears are down to 1. Only a couple Terminator shot, because very careful to leave this bear within charge range to kind of slingshot the movement. Also, before we do more shooting, I made a boo-boo. Now, the Wolfguard Terminators have a move called Rugged Resilience. So when they are targeted with a strength attack that's greater than a toughness, then I subtract 1 from the wound roll. So on those last shooting attacks, I should have been subtracting the wound roll. I did not do that. I will remember that next time, but I did want to point that out. I did make a boo-boo with the Wolfguard Terminators, but new stat line, first time playing with them, so some learning curves there, but I will remember that going forward. Now, we have the Great Unclean One, who is going to shoot what?
Putrid Vomit.
He's going to vomit all over my Assault Intercessors. As you see already, one is kind of down as it goes, but we know no fear. So here, stand up, Marine.
He look awful scared.
We know no fear. Yeah, okay, well,
he does. Look at him. He ducking for
He's
cover.
got a bum knee. All right, what's your vomit?
Bum knee ain't been attacked yet. All right, let's do it. Putrid Vomit, 12-inch range, D6 plus 3 attacks. That's not great.
Yeah.
5 attacks. It's a torrent automatic hit. Strength 5.
So 3s. Oh
wow.
Ooh. Yeah. Well. So he didn't vomit. It's more like a cough.
Putrid sneeze.
Putrid sneeze.
AP -2.
Okay, so I'm saving on a 5 here. It does go through.
1 damage.
So I got sneezed on by the Great Unclean One.
But
I believe, yeah, and the great Gesundheit. So, put my guy back. He's got 2 wounds each.
2 wounds.
Yeah, that's right. Is that all you're shooting?
Yeah.
Okay, so Death Guard shooting is done. We are going to be back. Now, the big charge here is Typhus slingshotting to this bear to try to make a play for the middle. And then, of course, the Great Unclean One is going to try to wipe away the Assault Intercessors here. Those are the big ones. We'll be back after the charging. Charging and some fighting is all done. Typhus indeed made his charge, attacked, wiped out the bear, and now he's going to try to make a play for the middle as predicted. Over here, the Blood Claws took out the Lord of Contagion and the last Blight Lord Terminator, but we did lose 4 guys in the process, but they're all wiped out. The Great Unclean One did make his charge against the Assault Intercessors, and we are going to resolve that fight next. But the last update, the Bears over here took out the Mephitic Blight Hauler there. And that is it. So all the charges were indeed made, and now the Great Unclean One is going to attack the Assault Intercessors. What you got? So not quite taking out the unit, because we have lost a total of 3 guys. But we'll check the OC and see who's winning on the OC side. And that is... Anything else, sir?
That's it.
So that is the Death Guard's turn. Your secondaries were...
Storm hostile objective. And then defend the stronghold. So I was able to defend the stronghold. Storm the hostile objective. Well, we'll have to count the OC and C.
Yeah, so we'll see where we're at with Storm Hostile, and we'll be back for the Bears, turn 3.
So I was a little disappointed with the Great Unclean One's attack. Kind of did middling damage, and I was kind of expecting him to do like a clean sweep, but that didn't happen.
The Bears are marching forward for turn 3. I pulled behind enemy lines and no prisoners. Pretty fortunate for me because I had a couple units already looking to move forward. So Logan and the Terminators are moving forward here. They're going to charge against these Plague Marines, and they'll be fully into their behind enemy lines. And then I have these Bears over here that are behind enemy lines as well. So both of these units will give me the full points on that. And the hope is that I'll be able to wipe out enough of these Plague Marines to either give me more OC and control the Death Guard home objective. Besides that, head takers here are staying still. Oh, my Oath of Moment target are the Plague Marines, and that should help Logan and the gang try to take them out. The other head takers here are in the middle. They did scoot over to make the charge of Typhus on turn 4 a little more difficult, and Typhus is my quarry pick. Head takers do get a quarry pick, and that gives them bonuses on attack. So I'll talk about what the quarry does if that becomes relevant. Outside of that, the Unclean One is stuck in with the Assault Intercessors, and Ragnar and the Bloodclaws are stuck in with the Lord of Change. And that is it. So no prisoners. I just have to wipe out units and behind enemy lines. I am doing that already. We're going to return for the Bears. Well, there's very little shooting. I don't actually, it may not be. Well, I think I have some pistols, but after the little pistol shots, we'll be back and see what the Bears do as far as their charging next. Now we've done some shooting. As you can imagine, nothing happened with the shooting at all. But I did want to put the Eradicators into the Great Unclean One. All that for a drop of blood.
Yeah.
So, Unclean One is as unshiftable as you can get. So, but I did want to put these guys on camera just to see what they can do. Now that that's all done, we are going to go to the Wolves charging. And the big charge, is the one I really want, is Logan and the Terminators here. That's all the charges I am going to make, actually. So let's see what they do. Ooh. I don't think that makes it. I don't think that makes it. All right, so CP reroll. Goodness gracious. Well, we'll see if it makes it. We'll be right back. Yes, so it does indeed make it. I mean, I did not want to spend a CP there for a reroll, and I did not have to. So we did move the platform just so you folks can see exactly what's happening. No reason to make it more complicated than it has to be. Okay, so well, there it is. Yeah, I wiped the unit. I am holding this objective. So that's it now. The Great Unclean One is for sure going to mop the floor with these two guys here. And then the Lord of Contagion is in trouble against Ragnar and the Blood Claws here. So we'll be back after we resolved all these things. As predicted, Assault Intercessors are gone. The Lord of Change took out 6 of my Blood Claws, and we took him out in turn. But explain what happened.
So, the Lord of Contagion gets Unholy Resilience. On a 2-up, he gets to be restored outside of engagement range with 3 runes remaining.
So as you can imagine, he rolled a 2-up, and guess who's back? The Lord of Contagion. Besides that, everything else is normal. I got my 2 objectives behind enemy lines, and I did get some no prisoners because I killed the Lord of Contagion, and I wiped out this unit here. That is the Bear's turn, and now the Death Guard are going to be looking to respond. Death Guard, turn 4. Death Guard, turn 4. And this is what our board is looking like in the Factorum. So, Death Guard, what'd you do? What's the plan here?
All right, so I'm excited about this turn. I moved my vehicles, my Plague Burst Crawler, my Mephitic Blight Hauler a little closer. This will open up more attacks and weaponry I can use against Logan. Try to kill them, take away an objective, as well as try to score some points for no prisoners.
What are your objectives?
No prisoners, which I can score each time I defeat an enemy unit up to 5 VP. And then containment, which starts in the shooting phase, and I can score up to 5 VP with that as well. 3 for each part of the battlefield.
6 VP for containment.
Oh, it is 6. Excellent. Yeah, for each battlefield edge I contain with a unit in the shooting phase.
Who's containing?
So I chose the Plague Burst Crawler over here. I chose them. They were close to the edge and they're bracketed. So one reason I chose them and those Plague Marines, they're taking the objective, not really in range with anybody. So I chose to contain with them as well.
All right. So doable objectives. No prisoners. Logan's unit. There's 2 Terminators in Logan here in that unit. So if it's going to be anybody you're going to try to take out, it will be that unit. And any other strategies this turn before we get into it?
Well, I moved Typhus to a position for a charge at the middle of the battlefield, so hopefully I can make that charge. We'll see. As well as opening up some options with the Unclean One. Put him in position to shoot against the Eradicators and potentially a charge opportunity.
All right, so we'll do the little shooting that Death Guard have. Well, they got some shooting.
I mean, don't call it little.
I mean, they got some shooting. So we'll do the shooting, and then we will return with the aftermath, and hopefully Logan will survive this. The shooting is done. Now, you notice there's no more Logan and Terminators here because the Mephitic and the PBC, what else did you shoot? There's just these 2, right?
Just those 2.
Took out the Terminators. Just wiped them. I was not expecting to lose them to the shooting, but I rolled incredibly bad. Death Guard rolled incredibly good, and Logan and the Terminators are gone. But they were able to at least take out a unit, so they did do something, but they are gone. It's hard to believe that Logan went down to shooting. Terminators are tough, but here we are. He just went down. He was able to at least fight, so you can see some of the fight. But yeah, I can't believe Logan went down so easy. Typhus made his charge into the Head Takers. This will be interesting because Typhus is the Head Taker quarry. And the fight over this middle objective in the OC is going to be interesting.
All right, so I'm happy that Typhus was able to make his charge and get to the middle of the field, but he's got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of catching up to do, but ready to make a comeback.
The Unclean One, which is great, made his charge into the Eradicators. The Lord of Contagion, not Lord of Change. I don't know why I keep saying Zinch things. Lord of Contagion charged again into Ragnar and the Blood Claws. And that is it. So there will be some points scored for no prisoners because Logan's gone. We'll see what happens in the middle, and we'll see what happens with the Great Unclean One when we come back for Death Guard fighting. Okay, the battle for the middle board is about to commence. Before we get to that, the Great Unclean One took out half of the Eradicator squad, so there's 3 left. As you can see here, I have 2 Blood Claws and Ragnar, but the Lord of Contagion is finally gone. He took out a good number of the Blood Claws, so 3 guys left there. And now the battle for the mid board. Typhus against the Head Takers and the battle leader. Okay, what you got? So, the Head Takers have been devastated. They lost 4 guys to Typhus and his Terminators, but we get to hit back. First off, Unbridled Ferocity gives me my +1 to wound, and we're doing it right now.
No casualties.
No casualties whatsoever for Typhus and the Terminators. So, as far as OC concerned, I am not controlling the middle of the board. So, tough breaks for me. But I believe that is the Death Guard turn. So, score containment did get at least 1 on no prisoners. And that's Death Guard turn 4. Now, how are the Bears going to respond? We're going to go to Bears, turn 4. Bears turn 4, as you can see, we're both running out of assets here. I did pull Storm Hostile Objective and Cull the Horde. Now we're at the point of the game where, everything matters all the time, but now everything really is starting to matter. So I advanced with the Bears from this corner to tiptoe on this objective here. So I'll be able to score that on my next turn, hopefully. And then I advanced the Head Takers off here to come here. Now, reason being is that I have Cull the Horde. The Typhus unit satisfies Cull the Horde. Now, odds are I won't be able to get it this turn, but I should be able to get it next turn and take out Typhus's unit because he's definitely going to take out my Head Takers, this turn. I moved Ragnar. I advanced with Ragnar. Was able to tiptoe on this objective here. The plan is to charge the Great Unclean One for the OC. He's scoring these points. He's scoring these objective points. I want to charge Ragnar to prevent scoring any more of these points here. So that's the logic behind that. And of course, Eradicators aren't going to go anywhere. They're just going to shoot into the Great Unclean One here shortly. That's the plan. The Oath of Moment target are the Typhus Terminators. They're going to be my Oath of Moment, and that's really it. So like I said, Cull the Horde, Storm Hostile. We'll see how the Bears do. We'll be back after some shooting. We have done all the things, and we have some results of things. So we shot, we fought, we charged, all that. Now, battle for the mid-board. I only have my battle leader left from my Head Taker unit. But right now we're tied for OC. So nobody is controlling this objective, which I was hoping to at least take out one Terminator to have control. I didn't, but at least now he can't score that on his turn. So I will take that as a W for Battle of the Midboard. Next, we got the Great Unclean One. He attacked the Blood Claws, leaving the Eradicators alive. Now, we shot him down and attacked him down to 3 wounds, but he was alive enough to take out 2 of my Blood Claws and hurt Ragnar. So this is where we're at. But he is controlling this objective, so he'll be able to score that on his turn. So as it stands right now, though, the Death Guard will have 2 objectives on turn 5, and that'll be it. So I was able to prevent the full 15 for this one. So I'll take that as a positive. Now, Storm Hostile and Cull the Horde. I didn't get either one because I'm not controlling the middle, and Typhus Group is still alive, and that is my Cull the Horde target. So I didn't score any secondaries this turn, but I should be able to score both in turn 5. That is the hope, at least. We are running out of assets, as you see. Battle of the Midboard is really becoming the turning point for both of us. But that is the Bears' turn. The Death Guard. Final turn 5 coming up next. Turn 5. The final Death Guard turn. There's just a few units remaining. All right, Death Guard, what are your final missions?
So this one's going down to the wire. I got Cleanse and I got Sabotage. So here's what I decided to do. For Cleanse, I score 2 VP if I cleanse one objective marker that I control, or 4 VP if I do it to 2 objectives. And then for Sabotage, if I destroy a terrain feature that's not within my own deployment zone, I get 3 VP. And if I destroy one within my opponent's deployment zone, I get 6. Now, I won't be able to destroy one in my opponent's deployment zone, but I will be able to destroy one within no man's land. So I elected to have the Plague Marines on the opposite side of the board from me, sabotage that, while also having the Plague Burst Crawler cleanse this. That will maximize my VP and allow me to have 5 victory points from these 2 objectives.
Okay, and you did score 10 points on the primary, 10 of your final points on the primary to start this turn. And now we have any other moving things that you of note?
I moved the vehicles slightly closer to the next target that they might shoot at.
Okay. And that's it. That is the final movement for the Death Guard. We have some shooting to do. Any priority targets?
Yes. The priority target's right in the middle. I need to regain OC, so I'm definitely going to shoot at the targets that aren't within engagement range.
Fair enough. And that's it. We'll be back and see how the Death Guard fare. Death Guard turn is over. It has been a battle. Battle of the Midboard will go to the Death Guard. As you can see, I have one battle leader remaining from the head taker battle in the middle. Even with all those bodies, Typhus and the Terminators are just too tough. Way too tough for me. I even used Unbridled Ferocity, and it did not matter. As you can see, there's 2 Terminators and Typhus left, and all my head takers from 2 units are gone except the battle leader. So that was an uphill climb for them for sure. On the flip side, the Great Unclean One has been vanquished back to the warp. Ragnar killed the Great Unclean One. Ragnar has slain 2 great demons this game. So good for him. I'd take him in every list, and this is the Saga-ist Ragnar has ever saga'd in all of my playing with him. So as far as the objectives are concerned, the cleanse here was successful. The sabotage will score at the end of my turn, but odds are that considering the assets on the table, Death Guard will be getting the sabotage. So we're just going to give them the sabotage, and then we're going to go to the Bears' final turn. Turn 5. Bears, turn 5. I have moved nothing. So you can see the score. I scored 10 points on primary. So that in itself has put me above the Death Guard just because of primary. The big swing was me being able to get rid of the Great Unclean One here. And then me being able to hold this the home objective here. That 10 points really made the difference. As far as my objectives, I kept Cull and Storm Hostile. So I got Storm Hostile because the Unclean One is no longer controlling the objective. So I scored the points there. So that gives me, that will give us, and Cold Horde I'm not going to get because the head takers have just big failed on taking out Typhus's unit. So the final score, you see it on the board. It is a Space Wolf, Space Bear victory today, but well fought by the Death Guard. Very fun rules for both, fun detachment, and of course a lot of detachments to go through for both armies. But glad to bring you this game today. So thanks so much for watching, and keep playing.